Welcome to Kyle and Dave vs. the Machine video edition. My name is Kyle.
I'm Dave.
This week on the podcast, we are going to be talking about the 1971 film Fiddler on the Roof. Dave, don't you feel like you just want to go up onto a roof and fiddle?
As long as it can be poorly synced to an Isaac Stern track, I'll be pretty happy with myself.
I think that's, you kind of have to go in understanding that any movie musical before, I don't even know, the 80s is like, well, that was very obviously recorded in the studio and then synced in afterwards. But regardless, what's great about Fiddler on the Roof is the music. I think that this music, even though written over 60 years ago for the stage production, this movie is obviously 50 years old, is really what makes this stand out so well. We have traditions. Sunrise, sunset. Matchmaker.
Bring me a ring, for I'm longing to be.
If I Were a Rich Man.
If I Were a Rich Man.
Dave, what did you think about this movie?
Yeah, as we'll discuss in the audio elongated version with special guest. Actually, I don't know if I discussed that much because there's a thing where two nerds get into it.
I'm sorry already!
There might be a bit of a romance going on. Don't tell Matt that, but I feel like that's what's going on.
I didn't know there was a musical, to be honest with you, going into it, and I was pleasantly surprised. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great.
I'm sorry, I just love the idea of like, Fiddler on the Roof, what is this? Some sort of like Russian epic? And then be like, a musical? What's going on here? I can't wait to watch this movie, West Side Story, just about a bunch of rival gangs just rivaling out.
Stabbing each
what?
other.
A musical? Ballet?
You a jet? Fuck you.
Yeah.
It was exciting. I actually really enjoyed it. There are nuances where, again, I don't know, adapting theater and stage productions into a film always has trouble. And this is definitely shot in 1971. So overall, I really liked this movie. I had a lot of fun.
There's a fascinating backstory to like how this movie got made, how the musical got made, that you can hear in the audio version of the podcast. I think that the one criticism that is absolutely something that I agree with is that they really do stretch out a lot of the non-musical sequences. For theater adaptations, kind of have to be a little bit more snappy. That being said, I also love this movie. Like, I honestly can't think of a movie that I've enjoyed as much as this that we've watched in 1971 so far. I was kind of riveted by the entire thing. Topol in the main role of Tevye, I think brings this kind of groundedness to the character where like I really feel for his struggle. Like, it's just in his face, honestly. Like, you can just have a look on his face. I'm like, man, like, I understand where you're coming from. And like, we had a really, I thought, beautiful conversation with our guest, Matt Koplik, host of Broadway Breakdown, who I'm a big fan of, about tradition. Do we as individuals in the year 2021 deal with what our perceived tradition is, understand what we can keep and what we can kind of discard? And this is what this show is kind of in essence talking about, and that's, I think, why it remains relevant.
It's apparently continually performed.
Yeah.
So that's something.
Like up until like a couple years ago, there was a version on Broadway. Like it gets revived like every 3 to 4 years, it seems like, in somewhere around the world.
Would you say that it's become a tradition?
If you want to hear our full conversation, of course, you can go and listen to anywhere you listen to podcasts.
If you can go by one name, what would your stage name be?
I'd be Copel.
That'd be Laser Wolf.
What a great DJ name that would be. DJ Laser Wolf? Come on.
When that came out in the film, I was just like, yes!
Yeah,
and
Laser
then I was
Wolf.
kind of like, why? Is that a real name?
I kind of wanted the 60-year-old to marry a 16-year-old at that point. All right, go and listen to the podcast.
What else could I do?